One of the things that I've been asked recently is, what do I need to do to prepare my home to sell in 2024? And is it different than what we needed to do a couple of years ago? And I'd say the answer is yes, it is a little different. In 22, 23, even back in 21, there was a really low inventory. There were a lot of buyers. Homes were selling in hours, maybe days, for over list price. And then the interest rates went up and the market kind of stabilized a little bit. And now we're back to being a beauty contest where we weren't for those couple of years. So it is important to get your home staged and ready to sell. So one of my first suggestions is, what do you do to accomplish that? Well, you want to get out what would be your buyer hat. Put it on and focus on the next half hour just looking at your home through buyer's eyes. Okay? I'm going to ask you to go out front and start like you're pulling up to the front of the house and look at your house for the first time with buyer's eyes. And do you notice if it needs paint? Is there cobwebs? Is there weeds in the flower beds? What do you see when you look at it as a buyer for the first time? We drive in and out of our driveway, we're hectic, we're going through life, and we don't notice those things. But this buyer's coming to make a large investment in real estate, so we've got to look at it in a buyer's eyes format. So, look at the front of the house. What's the yard look like? What's the condition of the exterior paint, landscape beds? Important is, what's the front door look like? Is it covered with cobwebs? Because most of us open the garage door and we go in and out of our house through the garage, and we don't spend much time at the front door. So you want to make sure it shines, it's pretty, it's welcoming, because we want to bring buyers in the front door and let them experience the home as it's designed by entering at the front door. Once you get inside, what do you see? You want to walk through the home again, as a buyer would. We walk in, we go to the kitchen, we go to the living room, but they're going to come in and they're going to start opening doors and looking at closets from the front door all the way through the home. And what we want to do is make sure we're prepared for that. And one of the things that I recommend doing is decluttering your home. I think it's the best return on investment you can make. And when I say declutter your home, I'm going to explain what that means to me. So, you're in the entryway, you look at the entry closet, you open the door, it's jam-packed with coats and shoes and scarves or whatever. So, if I'm going to get my house ready to sell, I want it to show as welcoming as possible. So, I would empty the closet out, I would wipe it down, I would look at each item as I took it out of the closet and said, am I going to wear this in the next 60 days or the next 90 days? Do I have a need for this immediately? If not, decide, does it stay? I pack it and I get it where I'm going and I unpack it. Or if I don't need it, it's a good time to donate. Because again, if you've got this much stuff in this much closet, it's going to make the closets in the home feel like there's not enough storage. If you've got this much stuff in this much closet, all of a sudden things are going to feel spacious. I've been out with buyers and we've walked through a home and they're like, there's no closet space in here. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of storage in here, but you're right, it's all full. So subconsciously we feel like there's not enough storage in the home. So easy way to do that, empty the closet, wipe it down, vacuum, whatever, and then put back what you need and don't put back what you don't need, because again, you want each closet to feel spacious. So you start with one room, you go to the next, and you work with the closets, and then you move to the cabinets. And I'm not saying you gotta alphabetize your pantry or anything like that, but open them up, look at the things. Again, I would recommend unload them, wipe them down, and then look back and say, okay, I've got this 12 baking pans, and I've not used but 2 of them in the last 5 years, and in the next 3 months or 4 months before I move, how many am I going to need? Again, pack them, donate them, but don't put them back if you're not going to need them. Same way, when you're looking at pots and pans or dishes, if you got 27 pots and pans in the cabinets and they're full and you can't hardly fit anything in there, you get them out and you look at them and you really use 5 of them, put the 5 back you use, and all of a sudden your cabinets are going to feel spacious. And when people open them up, and they will, buyers are going to open every door, drawer, closet and take a look. When they open them and they're jam-packed with stuff, they're just going to feel subconsciously like there's no room in this house for storage. When they open the cabinet door and all of a sudden you got 6 dishes and you got this and you got that sitting on the shelves, and all of a sudden there's room, subconsciously the person's going to look at it and say, oh man, I really love all the storage in this home. Been with buyers and they're like, oh man, this kitchen had never worked, there's not enough storage. And I count the doors and the drawers and I look at the room size. And we get to a house 2 or 3 houses later and they're like, no, this is what I'm talking about. I wish that first house had this much storage. And I count the doors and the drawers and it may be exact, it may be even less than what we saw in the first house. But it's clean, it's decluttered, and all of a sudden it has a whole different feel. So, return on investment. It takes some time on your part, but there's not a lot of cost involved in it. So that's the best way to start, is declutter. Now, as you're going through the house, you want to make sure all the light bulbs are good, that they all work. You want to brighten your house up the best it can. You go into a room and you got one overhead light, but the room's kind of dark. Look around, see if you got any lamps, if you've got anything that can brighten it up. You want to make sure if you've got real heavy drapes, that the drapes are pulled back for showings. You want as much light in the home as you can, because light's going to make it feel welcoming. And then you want to clean. And I don't mean just dust and run the sweeper, but a good thorough clean. You've started by doing all the closets and the cabinets, so the hard work's out of the way. Now you're going to go through, open the blinds and take a look. Can you see through? It's been 6 years since you washed the windows. Maybe it's time to give them a good cleaning. You just want everything to be pristine, because again, last 2 or 3 years, a house would sell basically no matter what the condition is. The market's shifting some. We're seeing houses stay on the market longer. We're not seeing big price drops, but we're seeing buyers have the time to be more picky. So what we want to do is remember, it's a beauty contest again. So when people go look at houses, and they're going to have more than one to look at in today's market, potentially, so you want yours to shine as you're getting it ready. A couple of other things you want to do as you prepare to actually be on the market is there's some thoughts on photos, family photos. Do you have to take them all down? You just don't want to be overwhelming, and you don't want to be distracting for the buyer when they come in, because you don't want them standing around saying, oh, who do I know in this photo? Who do I know in that photo? Oh, I remember that person. They kind of aggravated me at the PTA or the school meeting or whatever. I don't want to buy their house. They're kind of a pain. So you want to disassociate yourself from the house. But more importantly, if you've got small kids, we don't know what everybody's background is when they're coming in to look at your house. So if you got pictures, you got small kids living in the home, definitely put their photos away. You don't want to put them at jeopardy, because you never know what somebody's true intent when they're inside your home is. If you've got reasonable amount of photos, your kids are older and you're not worried about that, then I'd say just make sure it's not overwhelming when they come in, because again, you don't want them walking into the living room and saying, oh look, family photos, who do we know? We want them looking at the living room saying, can we see ourselves living here? Oh yes, I like this, I like that. But it's not about who lives there, it's about what the home is they're looking to buy. Other things that you want to do, you want to make sure you secure 4 major things. One is you want to keep honest people honest, so you want to put cash away. No cash out. You don't even want to leave it in the drawer, because unfortunately people are going to open doors, drawers, cabinets. They shouldn't be opening your personal dresser drawers, but again, you never know what's going to happen on the showing. So put the cash away. Jewelry, same way. If you've got expensive jewelry, one thing, you want to secure it. Even if it's not expensive, it can have an emotional attachment to you, and you don't want it to disappear. You just want to keep honest people honest. So again, put the jewelry, my recommendation is put it in a plastic tote or a box, something that you can take with you when you leave for a showing or you leave for work. Put it in the trunk of your car in case you get a showing scheduled during the day while you're already at work. But cash, jewelry. The other thing is prescription drugs. People aren't probably going to take a whole bottle of drugs out of your home because you're going to notice it. But if I'm in your home and I'm looking at that and I want to steal some drugs, I may open a bottle and take some of the pills out of it. You're not going to count them. You don't know how many pills were in there in the morning. Most people don't. So again, put them in a tote or a box, put them in your car with your other things, and take them out of the house. Don't leave things there that can easily wander off. Even if they're not cash jewelry or drugs, if it's something you've got an emotional tie to, it might be a figurine or it might be a little statue, it might be something your kids or grandkids gave you that you don't want somebody to knock off the cabinet or knock off the table and break, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and pack it and get it out of the way so nothing does happen to it. But the other thing you want to deal with is if you've got any guns in the house, handguns, long guns, whatever, you want to make sure that they're securely locked up or off the property. If they're in a gun safe and nobody can get to them, that's great, but don't. If you've got a gun that's not secure, don't leave it on the property. You wouldn't want something to happen that's accidental and you deal with that the rest of your life. I had one instance years ago where I had a buyer's agent call me screaming on the phone saying, "Your seller was very irresponsible. They left a gun out. A 5-year-old kid came walking down the hall carrying a loaded handgun." And everybody was scared and probably overreacted to it. But I got that call. So then I called my seller and said, "We've got to do better at secured guns. This happened in your home." And my seller then started screaming at me and saying that handgun was in the back of my sock drawer in my personal dresser. I don't know why anybody was going through there, let alone leaving a 5-year-old kid alone in a room where they could go through my drawer. So I heard it from both ends, and the good news is there was no tragedy. It could have been tragic if that 5-year-old kid came down the hall carrying a gun and it discharged and somebody got hurt, killed, whatever. So the best thing to do is just secure them or take them off the property. We want to make sure we provide a safe environment for everybody, and we don't want to look back and say, "God, I wish I'd have done that different." So those are some of the things that I suggest you do just to get your house ready for sale. Does it need paint? Does it need flooring? Does it need updating? Those are things that we're more than happy to come out, give you personal advice on. It may vary based on market to market. It may vary based on the price range of the home, and it may just vary based on the current condition of the property. Those are things that a real estate professional can guide you on, and we would be happy to do that. We'd be happy to meet with you, help you create a plan to get your home ready to sell so that when it goes on the market, it brings the highest price available in the least amount of time with the least amount of headaches for you. That's the goal my team and I have. We look forward to trying to help you meet your goal and get your home sold. This is David Brenton. Thank you for taking time to watch the video today. If you've got any questions, please reach out to us. Thank you.